putting it in there.
No, that's fine. Might need a bigger fridge someday.
He puts his bottle down with authority. Boom.
He does. Very, I'm angry.
Why?
You had one of those days, Sam? Don't break that glass. That's my Leadville glass.
Oh.
That's from 2016. That's how long it's been since I've
So
done
they gave you a
anything.
glass and a belt buckle.
And a belt buckle. Yeah.
Or
Which
did you have to buy the glass?
I feel like you bought the glass.
I think I bought the glass. Well, I paid for the belt buckle with my life.
Yeah.
Basically, too. So.
And what is a $300 entry fee you might have paid
It
for?
was something like that. It's, it's the lottery thing, and I remember signing up for it in January and going, not like I'm going to get in. And then, oh, shit.
Ooh, you guys know what was
got
released today?
Donald Trump's medical records.
Oh, no.
No.
Let's not go there.
Sorry.
The tour route.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
well, thanks,
yeah,
Sam.
yeah.
It's not like I'm going to,
Is this
host
a
a
cycling
podcast here
podcast?
soon.
I forgot
This
after
is a
last week.
Yeah, last week, I know.
Are
didn't
we
touch
back to a cycling
We're
podcast?
Gonna do cycling. I think so.
Well,
Yeah.
But you guys don't like the poopy talk?
no, I love poopy talk.
Well, not a fan of everybody.
I do poopy talk every day. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of burned out.
you know you'd think,
Yeah.
but it
One
always is
would
okay.
think. All right. There we go. I got everything. Enough of the poopy talk. I don't know. We might have already provided spoilers into the show that I had prepared and written so carefully, agonized over most of my day. And Sam comes out, the tour's going on. All right. The beers are poured. The mics are hot. Sam is here, but his brother's not. Time to talk bikes, although the weather says no. Better than talking politics. That's for damn show.
How?
Nice.
Great job.
Master of rhyme, I kind of am not, though. The show makes it seem that's for show. That's for damn show. Makes me sound like I'm trying to be cool. But I am the host of the longest lasting cycling podcast out there. I'm Pat Bulger, and this is the Packfiller Cycling Podcast. We are live as usual in the Rim Break Bar, my dojo, and I am again surrounded by opinionated bike blowhards who can't wait to spout their thoughts into the void. Let's see who's with us, shall we? Tonight's prologue question, at times seen as a launching pad of the overall tone of the show. Boy, was it last week. Brought to us with some help from our friends at Competitive Cyclist, your online source for everything you can't find at the LBS. That's right, shop local, but if you can't, head up our friends at Competitive Cyclist or use our link at packfiller.com. Gentlemen of the panel, what is something you've caught yourself doing that you swore you'd never do when your parents did it? Oh my God, I've turned into my father/mother. Did that light just flash?
Yeah.
It was picking up on how hard I was having to think
It was.
about that.
There's a disturbance in the force.
Yeah.
You ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, first off, he's the king of crap carbon. He's the basher of BMCs. He's Mr. Paul Main. How are you, man?
I'm doing all right. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you really sure?
There's a silver lining.
There is.
Yes.
There is. Paul's got a story for the show today that we will get into. But first and foremost, what is something that you've done that you thought, oh shit, I'm my parents?
At a stoplight, plucked my nostril hairs out of my nose. My dad used to do it all the time, and I thought, why would you do it now? Why would you?
Hey,
And he would sneeze or a tear would run down his eye.
yeah, sometimes you get those ones and it hurt. The gray ones are the worst. You guys probably don't have gray noses.
No.
Here we are. Here we are. We're getting gross already right out of the gates.
Well, so you look at it,
Yeah.
judge it,
Yeah.
by length, color,
Yeah.
See how it tastes?
kind of like ooh,
To quote,
Like nice and lean.
I could floss with that one. It's so long.
to quote the movie, what's the baseball movie with Charlie Sheen and Tom Berenger, where they're the Cleveland Indians.
Hang on.
Shit.
You know, I'd never watched that, and I'm a baseball
Somebody's
fan.
screaming at me right now.
Yeah.
Somebody's screaming into the void, say, you dumb
Wild
shit.
thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, anyway, the announcer says the guy's leading the league in nose hairs. When he sneezes, he looks like a party favor.
Oh my God.
I get that. So you've done that. That's where you are now. You become the nose hair plucker at this.
Well, and I think at a young age, you don't realize that your body hair, once your hormones, in an older age,
yeah.
it's just like it's growing extra lengths.
Yeah.
Places first it's growing places it never grew before,
Amen to that,
And
brother.
then the ones that where it grew before, my leg hair is like 3 times the length of,
yeah.
you
No,
You do
it
have
was
very
before.
clean nostrils.
because
Well,
I
he drives
I
a lot.
drive a lot and a lot of stop and go at stop signs. Yep.
And that's when you look over to just glance to your left or something. You're like, oh shit, somebody's watching me.
I hope
Ah.
that I pull up next to you at some point, and I'm just gonna do one of these like.
You have to do it quick.
Yeah.
You got to go quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't do that. It's
Yeah,
like
or
waxing,
that'll hurt.
You know, like, you know.
And there are times
You
when
gotta
you
rip
get
it
one
off.
that obviously is connected to your eyeball because it just hurts. It
Yeah.
just
Start
really hurts.
tearing.
Yeah, you,
Oh,
you
God.
feel your eye socket. I mean,
Yeah.
your eye,
Yeah.
like, go back. in.
All right, next off, he's Professor Plump Butt. He's the boss of bitch,
Plump butt.
Mr. Sam Waffles.
Oh man, so what I constantly catch myself doing, and honestly, both parents are guilty of it, is like saving things. That I'm like this. It's such
I
a
have
small,
no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, you do. Because it's like a 2x4, right? Like. Don't
Oh,
need this, it's
God,
scrap.
yes.
And then it's like, well, I have a house. I'll probably use it somewhere at some point. And the number of times that I've been like, I have that, right, are slim.
Very few.
Very few. More times than not, I'm like, oh, I need to get that. And I go to the store and I buy another.
Yeah.
Because I forgot that I had that one. Because it's stored in the rafters somewhere.
Shit.
Yeah, that's
No,
what my parents
100%.
did. And, I mean, my dad has, like, so much stuff stored. He's got one thing or multiple things of everything.
Yeah.
But he couldn't find it right away.
Yeah, no.
So you end up buying it.
Yeah.
That's the problem with the house.
That's a
what
house.
that's a house.
I
It
know.
is a house problem.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in a condo. It doesn't fit anywhere. Oh, out it goes. Or give
Yeah.
it away. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I have like 10 tape measures,
Mm-hmm.
and I have like 50 flathead screwdrivers, just because I've just
Yeah,
like,
but only
oh,
like
shit,
2
need one.
Phillips. You ever
Yeah,
noticed that?
that's true.
It's like you got so many more flatheads than Phillips.
And on top of that, I love my wife to death, but I get those multi screwdrivers where you can pull the tip out and flip it and put it back in, and then I'll go and find it, and the actual
Phillips are
cartridge
gone.
is missing.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm
always.
just like, honey, I don't know where it is.
And only the flathead remains.
Yeah,
Yep.
all I have left for standard
Another
screwdrivers.
fucking flathead.
Third, he's the captain of Carhartt, or the Sultan of Style, Mr. Jackson Bulger. He looks so goddamn good all the time. It's
Thanks.
just, I'm clashing. I got bad colors going here, and you're
I
styling.
want to be like Jackson when I grow up.
I do
I
too.
appreciate that.
Yeah, but I'd need a time machine to do that. And if I did, technically, he would cease to exist.
That's true.
Yeah.
You can't have that.
No. Maria would be very upset.
She
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She would. Bender's pissed. Just
Yeah,
the thought.
see,
Just hearing
that's
about it.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jackson. What's? Oh no! Oh no! What did I set myself up for? It's like shit. I'm Pat. I self-deprecate and I'm getting slow.
Let's see. I'll turn to the two that aren't related to me. So, what my dad used to do when I was younger, and probably still does today, if I lived with him, he had this like. The word that comes to mind first is a growl. When he gets mad about something, when he doesn't like how like when he gets frustrated with like a project, yeah, you go ah.
Yeah.
But it's a lot louder
yeah.
and a lot more like really mad.
Yeah.
And
Fuck! I think I know what it is.
yeah. And I do that, but just as like a different level.
Really?
Yeah, mine's like
Martin Short on Only Murders in the Building. He
I
was-
w-
I haven't seen that show yet.
Yeah.
I got to see that show.
You do.
yeah. I think I do it, and then I can just go back to what I'm doing. But good old dad couldn't do that
He's-
when I was a kid.
Well, give it another 30
so
years.
he could,
kid.
after the growl, he's done with whatever caused the growl.
he
Right?
has to take a good 30 minutes.
I can.
I go right back to
I'm gonna
it.
put him up.
I think I've heard him in a crit do that.
Take a 30-minute break.
Yeah.
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 No, let me
Growling,
think
take a
about it. I'm going to
30-minute
push
break.
my mic away and I'm going to try it. Is it?
It's exactly that. It's exactly
that it?
Yes.
I've heard
Shit.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pat
that's
got
it.
dropped.
It's usually a lot more off in the distance, though. You know.
Yeah,
Eat
so
this bike.
I've noticed that I do that at certain times. I've noticed that.
You're going to do it more once you get a house where you don't have to worry about neighbors. You'll do it. You'll do it louder.
I'm interested.
Yeah, and you'll also do it because you technically want your spouse to hear it.
Yeah,
I'm not lying.
Know your
You
frustration.
do. You do, and especially if it's just like something you told me to do this. You said we needed to whatever hang this painting or move the refrigerator 4 stories. It'll be that, and I'll just be like, okay, I'll do it today, and then you wanted the fridge in the attic.
Mine is the profanity that is strung together.
It
is so many things.
Yeah. The F word is a noun, a verb, an adjective, a
all in
conjunction.
one.
Yeah, it is everything. Me, I'm the knight of next year, the owner of overreacting. I'm Pat Bulger. And there are a couple of things that I found that I'm turning into my father. Number one, I am happy to go to bed before almost 8 p.m. sometimes. I have caught myself at 8 p.m. going, I'm out. I'm done. I'm going to bed. Yeah. And I now wake up early enough that I'm like, I got to get up early so I can have time for coffee. And just
That's a good thing.
Sit in a room by myself with nothing. Is that really?
I like that. That's what I do.
But I also had to include one thing that since Paul did the nose hair thing, I have caught myself using the edge of my shirt to clean out shit between my teeth.
Yeah,
I go because I'm going.
That is gold. That is gold.
I don't know if I'll pick that one up.
I wouldn't either. I don't know when everybody's looking.
Yeah, avoid it.
I don't know when people are looking, and here I am telling it on a podcast. But sometimes it's just like going, I don't have floss with me, and this piece of whatever is driving me crazy. So there we go.
That is so funny.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, we can all agree that our cycling lives have come to the seasonal transition.
I'm killing it.
Outdoors to indoors, though.
Oh, yeah. That's depressing.
Yeah, it is. 3 of us, however, were able to ride outside for, can we maybe agree it might have been one of our last PCPs of this season?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
One of us doesn't have a bike anymore.
Well, thanks for jumping the gun again. Paul unfortunately discovered that either he is a massive wattage cottage or he has horrible luck. The good news, well, first of all, Paul, talk to us. Take us through the ongoing. I wish I had some kind of but I don't want to belittle it by playing a soap opera song because it's just like, are you kidding me? Okay, the listeners to the show know you're a parent, deal with the devil, and you've done wonderful things. You've had wonderful things happen to you for your life, but now Satan is cashing in because it started with your car, and then the first BMC, and how many weeks ago did you upgrade your bike?
So the purchase, I looked on it, the purchase of that new frame to replace my old BMC, and this is a used BMC, same year and everything. That's why I purchased it, for those who are not aware of that. And it was a limited edition that they made 80 of these that particular year, and I have number 9. Now, if you like British
Beatles.
Television, no.
Number 9.
Oh, there's a number 9 series you can watch on BritBox.
Okay.
It is actually they're just skits, like short skits, and some of them are just like freaky weird. Some are funny, dark humor. Number 9.
Good. Okay.
Yeah, seriously,
Okay.
very good show. Anyway, that should have been a clue.
Yeah.
So, put this thing together. I mean, it everything fit. Like I was telling Jackson just earlier, it took like 2 hours to strip my old one down, put the new one together, the new frame. I mean, it was just like slap. I mean, brakes where they clamped and everything just
almost
fit
like
perfectly.
it's Swiss engineered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Swiss.
Yeah,
it was.
I thought. Yeah.
Just like a Swiss watch, I tell you.
Yeah.
But anyway, it rode good, and then I started getting this creak, and I'm like, oh, that's strange. And it was not normal, and I was a little bit sweating a little bit, thinking, and it's on the handlebars. So I'm thinking that, hopefully it's not the steer that's cracked where I clamped down. So I took it apart before our ride and looked at it. The steer looked good. Put it back together. Seems like it fixed it. Then we started riding, going up a hill, and I'm like, it's there again. God, I don't know what it is. So we went, how far did we ride?
We did 30 miles. 30 miles, yeah.
So we're probably 28.5 miles away, and I look down at my top tube, and there's a crack going across the top of the top tube. That was the sound. So it is not even
circumferential
worth.
crack.
Yeah, there's
and to be in that moment, Sam, you and I were there. I think I looked over and you said like, "Oh, Dick, my
That's right.
frame is cracked."
Mm-hmm.
And I looked over and I saw what you were touching. And we were literally 3 blocks away from the pub.
Mm-hmm.
And you just said that, and I didn't. Pat Bulger didn't know what to say. I had nothing smart-assy. I had nothing. I just wanted to
Wanted to hug him.
I wanted to get off the bike and hug you because I felt so effing bad for you.
Well,
Sam
bought me a beer.
Well, Sam was
silver lining.
a block-
Saving some money.
a block saving money. A block before, Sam had said, "Guys, I got to get home. I got to help a friend out. I'm going to bail." We're like, "Okay." Paul's frame's cracked. Sam's like, "I am going for beers with you guys."
We're toasting.
I think
this.
you said something like, "I'm not leaving a man down,"
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
like that.
That's depressing. That's a sad day.
God,
Yeah.
it was so. Okay.
Well, and you know, I'm a BMC man and through, and I have nothing negative to say. That's just I don't know the history behind this bike.
Yeah.
To be fair, you know, and the crack from my original frame was from it falling over, and that's my fault. So, you know, the thing is, I could have bought a new rim brake frame, but I wouldn't be able to go to because of the cost. Wouldn't be able to go to Belgium. So talking with my wife and I were discussing financially what we could do. Buying that used frame would save me from a trip to. I still can go to Belgium.
So to go.
And so then when this cracked, now I'm back to buying another frame. So I'm probably exceeding the cost of. But
Yes.
see, the silver lining is. I found a new frame
Yay!
for a decent price.
We can spill the beans.
Yeah, okay. And so I've always been on BMC, and I have, like I said, nothing bad about them. But there's a time when you need to maybe check out another, manufacturer.
Like when
And
your
I think
manufacturer doesn't make rim brakes
it
anymore.
is,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think it
Every
is.
other company.
Yeah.
It ruined. I had this all lined up.
Sorry.
You are such
I know the whole night.
So anyway, I'll retract. So it's time. It's now I see I blew it. It is time for me to get a new frame. Time is the key word. Time. It will be a time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Packfiller is involved with time bicycles.
Yeah, that's our announcement. We're gonna make here.
Now with that, I am getting a new used frame rim brake, so I don't have to convert over.
It's not used though.
No,
It's new.
new old stock, I
stock,
should
yeah.
say. Yeah. And they still have their lifetime warranty, so all that is good. And I've been a fan of Time for a long time, just following their manufacturing. If you haven't, there's a YouTube that explains how they do it, and there's a guy out of Australia. Raul, I'm gonna butcher his last name. Loach. He's a carbon specialist, but
Okay.
he does, and he talks about he cuts people send him frames and he cuts them up and he knows how carbon's laid out.
Wow.
And Time is the only one that uses a weaving machine, and you'll see that machine in that video. And they use mandrins, the form of, like the fork blades and stuff, and they run that weave around it, and then it sits in the mold, and they high pressure inject the resin in there, and that's what causes it to be as strong, as opposed to laying down. And they use bladders, and what everybody else uses is like a kind of a balloon in there inside the shape of the frame,
Sure.
and they pack around it. Well, sometimes there's air pockets and stuff, and that's not what you want.
Oh wow.
So if you do
Jesus.
research on when you get a time frame, the bottom brackets face that you can put calipers on the inside, they're almost perfect. If
Wow.
on even on disc brakes, they have like the ferrules on there are already faced and chased, and so they're flush. You don't have to do any of that.
Wow.
Well, and
So-
like a David's bike, like the tolerances to everything are so precise and exact, and it can only exist on a bike that is built to that standard.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like there's a lot of other reviews that I was looking at out there that like it has the stiffest back end out of any other bike on the market.
Mhm.
just crazy. Like if you take out the rear wheel and try to clamp together the dropouts, it is locked. Super cool.
Yeah.
Well, that gives me an opportunity to announce this partnership with Time Bicycles. But if you're listening to this, you are listening to an official Time dealer for Time Bicycles. So if anybody's interested, we're just kind of dipping our toes into this slowly but surely. But the plan is to kind of be a one-off bike supplier. So if we're kind of dabbling in the bike business. So visit our website and look for site updates coming soon. We're working to reinvent how bikes are bought and sold. So maybe make it a little bit easier. And we got a guy who, I don't know, is professional and fit on board and stuff like that, be able to get you dialed in. So that's how we're going to approach this. So speaking of time, this is a good time to jump into tonight's topic, which we will place in the hands of Time. So thanks to you guys. Thanks. There's we'll sell you bikes. Bike buying and what to look for. That's kind of our topic. Paul's switching. Sam is the proud owner of a new steed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went with a Specialized tarmac. I was actually looking into Time as well. They just didn't have a bike that was large enough for me. Geometry-wise, their XL is just a little bit larger than smaller than a 61.
Oh, okay.
But they're talking width of your butt, or
my butt was just too big.
Yeah,
it wouldn't fit on.
It came really top heavy. You're like
it was
pendulum and
wild.
back and forth.
Yeah, there has to be really good balance throughout the whole bike, and it was a little bit too small to hold this steed. But yeah, I went with a new Specialized bike. Yep.
What led to that choice?
Honestly, what it really came down to was geometry, wanting to support local. I have bikes from all different local shops, so going with that because we're a Time dealer. I wanted to also look at that, but really came down to that. I've ridden them in the past, and they worked for me.
You mentioned you've already switched out componentry.
Mm-hmm.
So why did this happen? What did you look for?
And so I'll say this, what's really cool, very few companies do this, is like building a bike frame up, right? And being able to pick specs on things. So I had to choose a frame color that I wanted to go Specialized, and then that comes in a certain build, and so I got a component group set that I was like, well, I personally like SRAM a little bit more than Shimano, and if you look at the research, Shimano shifts faster, the brakes are a little bit better, but I'm already into a SRAM system with my gravel bike, so I decided to stick with SRAM for simplicity of rolling over.
Yeah, we talked about compatible batteries, and that is something I would never even have thought of, that now a battery is an element of the whole equation, and that I have one bike with electronic shifting, and to know that battery can go in and out of bikes, is that the same? Is that the same with Shimano?
I would imagine. Mm-hmm. Actually, I cannot confirm that. I don't know enough about the system, but I would imagine.
Yeah, I would think so. I'm just thinking you can, but usually the battery hidden for Shimano is under the seat post, and it's a hassle to pull that.
Okay,
it is, out. and that's it's a lot more work, and that's why I went with the SRAM is on the derailleur, and the nice thing is so they're on to the version 2 of the SRAM group set, which shifts a little bit faster than the original group, and there's a few other perks, lightweight or lighter weight, but you can interchange all that stuff too. Like I could break a derailleur on one of my bikes and, just take it off of one and put it on the other.
Yeah.
Because it's all easy swap over, which is just, once again, since I'm already into that system, that's why I went with that system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you are going to ride not Red.
Nope, Force.
Force.
Yep.
Jackson, you ride Ultegra.
Mm-hmm.
I ride Ultegra. Paul?
Red.
You're Red. Okay. Why the second tier, quote unquote? Why would you choose that over the top of the line, especially since you're getting rid of a Dura-Ace Di2, aren't you?
No, it's Ultegra.
It's Ultegra. Okay.
Yeah, so I just did a direct swap.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to a cost. It's probably an extra $1,000 at least to go with the Red, and I think the grams per dollar there don't add up for me.
So what are people doing? Why are people shopping why are people going for Red versus versus force? Why are people going Dura-Ace versus Ultegra?
Weight.
Simply weight.
Yeah, there's
Weight
no
and
other
cost.
Yeah.
Weight and cost. So, like you were talking about, you got to have to do that balance nowadays.
You're already looking at like I think that the bike that I have now is like a $7,000 bike.
Mm-hmm.
That's with Di2 Ultegra, right? And carbon wheels and all that. I mean, I would classify that as a super bike, but $7,000, and that's mid-tier componentry, right? So to go up to that next tier is in the like 10 plus. That's crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how much did you get your BMC with Red for back in the day?
So the 2012, and I think I got it. Well, it was because it was a deal.
Bike?
I guess it was retailing for about $4,200 at that time.
That's what I'm talking about. Like my Ultegra build Cervelo was a $3,500 bike. Like that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wonder if I'll ever go back to that top level tier. You were saying also at the beginning of the ride, Sam, that the frame isn't there.
Oh, top of the line.
Yeah.
Layup. Yeah. Is there any difference? I'm not
They
trying to
make
just
one road
overplug
Alpe
time
d'Huez.
here, but I am making a point that I don't think that there is a difference.
It's their frame.
It is the
Alpe
frame,
d'Huez
which is
is
what's
the
really
frame.
cool
They have a road
about-
frame.
They
have a gravel frame.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's what I do love about some of those smaller companies is, like Time is one of them, but there's several out there that do it. And they just like, hey, this is what we make. It's a killer product. And this is why we just make this one.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's always a trickle down effect. Like this bike that I have now is the same layup that they had on the SL7, right? The 10R. And so it's just, it's always the trickle down effect, and it's the big companies. Trek does it as well. Giant does it as well. Like the top tier like carbon layup for these companies is just better.
Yeah.
But
All right, so let's rank some things when we're looking for in bike buying, and what we would rank personally as high, low, or not an issue. Okay. Like, yes, I'm looking for this. For example, actually not for example. First one, aerodynamics, high, low, or don't even bother. Jackson.
I would say that's pretty high for me.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Because
he's a stick figure, and him being on a bike doesn't change the aerodynamics.
yeah, that
Taller riders, it is important.
it is.
Yeah.
That's more
for
important
my,
than shorter people.
for my height. I know my type of racing too
yeah.
is not going to necessarily be uphill.
Okay.
So
Sam, aerodynamics.
No, like
No?
you see my horse's ass.
That's true.
Mhm.
Well, it's the
You had just made a comment the other week about exactly.
yeah, exactly.
So no, there's no difference.
Okay, Paul, how big is aerodynamic for you?
No.
I'm going to give it a secondary. I'm not going to go first priority, but I want
feel
speed
fast.
wherever I can.
It
fucking
makes you
get it.
feel fast, though.
Yeah.
I mean, an aero bike does make you feel fast.
Well, and the thing is, I don't want something like a parachute, but that's
Yeah.
not. I don't think something that
Tubes
is,
are sideways.
Yeah, exactly. But no modern bike, whether it's a non-aero road bike right now, is not going to be a true hindrance. You're
Yeah.
talking, few hundred
Yeah.
few watts here and there.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Comfort, Jackson.
I would say that's like middle
Secondary.
because I know that we can make it comfortable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's a really good point. That's first for me.
It is.
I want it to be comfortable because if I'm comfortable, then I can produce more power.
Yeah.
Like my Cervelo was a more endurance bike, so it'll be interesting to see on the new tarmac whether it's because it's more racy.
Mm-hmm.
If it is, it's comfortable.
Okay, Paul.
Yeah, it's very important,
Yeah.
especially at 61.
Yeah.
You just want to feel like you
He
went
wants
in the ring.
his lazy boy recliner out there on the road.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting to that point too, where I'm noticing aches, pains, things like that, and I'm wondering if my bike is just too damn stiff in certain places, and so I might need to tweak it there a little bit about that. So that would bring us to stiffness, Jackson.
Ooh, I would say that's pretty high, especially like I said with the type of racing that I want to do. I want a really responsive ride.
Yeah, Sam. You want a stiffy?
I don't know, man. That is so. I've had like the bikes that just send every bit of a road noise up into your spine.
Sure.
But I also think that the like tires that we run now, I would be curious because my bike I would not rate as stiff, but I think that you could probably run a pretty stiff bike now and have wider tires and it'd be fine. I'd be curious. I don't know. There's got to be a GCN video on that.
Well, I would imagine that, for instance, my bike is probably
Yeah.
very stiff,
Yeah.
but it never has felt. I don't feel
Like
uncomfortable.
you're
I
getting
don't
beat up.
I never have. I wonder if the tires make a difference.
You have 28s?
I have 28s,
Yeah.
and that I did notice a difference between the two.
Yeah.
Because I ran 25s last year.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah,
Paul?
stiffness. I think it is very important. Not to the point where you're sacrificing comfort,
Yeah.
but I think there's a fine line in between that. Now, going from my Cervelo R3, that purchase that bike to get me over the hump over the BMC,
Yeah.
noticeably rougher ride without a doubt. Same set
Really?
of wheels and everything. Yeah, I there's no way I could. I just would not like a ride over 40 miles on that bike. For some reason, that was a comfortable bike. That's a bike I used to started my first carbon bike, a race bike, and I didn't even notice it.
Wow.
I was going from steel though,
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was nice and light. But yeah, the BMC was like, it hit every mark for me.
He likes to match the stiffness in his joints.
Yeah.
Rigor
Yeah.
mortis.
Well, I'm kind of in that point too, because a stiff bike has always been my number one priority. I grew up riding Vituses.
No
And
kidding.
if you
Yeah.
rode a Vitus, it was like al dente pasta.
Yeah.
And I would sprint, and I'm pretty sure the bottom bracket would rub my
It's shifting
ankles.
gears.
Yeah, my ankles. But you put a certain amount of power into that, and that was kind of always my thing. I was a power rider, and so I really, really have focused on a bike that is just absolutely brutally stiff, and I'm on one right now. I mean, my bottom bracket and my rear triangle aren't going anywhere. And as I age, I keep thinking about, okay, you've got shoulders that are garbage. Do you want to play with that? But I won't sacrifice that stiffness, that performance. I would rather come home and have to ice my shoulders than have a noodly bike.
Well, there's a
That's
difference
fair.
between stiffness and compliance.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So,
You're true. Yeah.
and so
Carbon. I mean, if we're going to get into the carbon versus steel thing too, steel had that rigidity, but it also had the compliance.
And
carbon
that's-
does not as much.
and carbon layup and the way a frame is designed, you can get that rear end to take that punch out. And the problem with aero bikes is that they were making them aerodynamic, and there's so much material in there. There was no room. It was going right up your backside.
Yeah.
So if you look at bikes now, that's why a lot of lore stays. It gives a little bit more compliance. You have a lot D-shape, or even D-shape
Seat posts.
seat posts. Thank you.
Yeah.
They'll all give that a little bit of help on that. So
How about brand loyalty? How important is brand loyalty? Are any of you guys tied into a specific? I've had this. I'm staying with it.
Used to be.
Used to be.
Honestly, you could really make an argument that I still am because I worked in a specialized shop, raced for a specialized team,
Yeah.
and always ran their stuff. I think I went back to
You're still on their helmets and shoes.
and I always will be on their helmets and shoes. But I think that their bike I so easily jump back to because I know that it works for me.
Yeah.
But I think that when I stepped away and went to Cervelo and then tried 3T, I was like, man, all these bikes out here are really nice.
That's my point anymore. It's almost like you can get you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Anymore.
If you can get a good deal on a bike, that's
Yeah.
what I would push people towards more
Yeah.
than, focusing on a brand.
Yeah.
How about aesthetics? How
Big.
important is a cool looking bike? Sam, you just said that you had to
Huge.
pick a specific color.
Yeah, huge.
Really?
Especially if you're spending the money on something.
Yeah.
Like for me, it needs to be like aesthetically pleasing, which the last bike was because like how they did the geometry of like the fork, to the head tube. It made the head tube a little bit smaller. So I ride a 61, right? I don't want to ride some clown bike. And then, it's color is really big too. Like I think that the total layup of it is really important. You will never find me with my stem inverted. I would rather have my stem up high and out straight than have my...
Thank you, God.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm just like, and it's one of those things that I personally can't do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Jackson, you're our style guru, for Christ's sake. You know.
Yeah, I think that it's a big deal for me. I like a color that's not what everybody else has. I mean, and I think I kind of have that now.
Yeah. Not matte black.
No, it's matte blue, which is very different from everybody else. I like that. I think a good set of wheels, mind you, that could come after the fact, is a good thing for me. I love a deep set of wheels, though. I just think that looks better on a bike. So those are like my two visual things for me that I really like to go for. And I do kind of like a flat bar. I didn't mind the one I had before, and I am a little sad it's gone sometimes.
I get it. No, they're pretty cool looking. Although when I climb, I'm on the tops, and I don't know if I want that huge surface to grab onto.
It's kind of nice.
Really?
I did like it. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Paul, how important is aesthetics?
It's mediocre.
Yeah?
Yeah, if it came to like a shit brown bike, I'm not going to be happy on it.
Yeah.
Ooh, but a matte brown bike would be kind of cool.
I don't know. Couldn't do that.
Earth tones.
But it's not going to trip me up. There's so many other things that the bike has to be, that's kind of a non-issue. But if it's a bike I want and it comes in this particular color, I think I'd have a little bit of problem pulling the trigger.
Yeah. You okay with red, obviously?
Yeah, red.
I'm going with red.
Red. I like red. My old Harry Gary was red.
Yeah, that was a beautiful bike too. My Harry Gary was green, and I want green bikes back again.
Yeah.
I want to get green bikes back again. But I've been on an orange bike for a long time, and it is
bike.
orange. It is orange. But I am like Jackson. I don't want I don't want the attention, but I don't want a bike that blends in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind blending. I don't want to stick out like a turd.
Really?
Yeah.
I love sticking out.
Well, I don't. I mean, like a turd. They stick out like
prairie
okay, that's
dog
cool.
from the Peloton.
But one that's like, what the hell? Because
The
I've seen
Peloton prairie dog.
Peloton prairie dog.
when I worked at a bike shop, we had a bike manufacturer, Davidson bikes, and one of the things you could any color scheme. I've seen some things coming out of there like splatter paints were really big in the 90s, the late 80s and 90s, and they're like, this is like Jackson Pollock. You know? It just would get tiresome. It's just sometimes you can go too far on that, to the point where it's going to date itself, and it's like, well, it's a great bike, but it's too outdated on the color.
I've noticed some do that prism paint still, though, which is kind of
harder than hell to touch up.
What are you guys willing to change when buying a complete bike? Like, especially when it comes to cycling's gotten way out of control when it comes to price. So let's say you're on a website and you're piecing together a bike. Where are you willing to skimp to save those dollars? What areas would you recommend or even do yourself? Sam's biting his tongue.
I literally stripped it down to the frame. And then, redoing everything.
Yeah.
So I can't really say that I'd skimp on anything.
But you are, in essence, skimping to a sense because you're going a second tier. No, you aren't. Never mind. I keep thinking you were going Durace, but you're going straight across.
Yeah, I'm just going straight across.
If money was an issue, I would look at, like we talked about, contact points are pretty important.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't need ceramic bearing look pedals. Don't need it.
Yeah.
Carbon bars, handlebars, I would only use if my ride was a little bit too hard on the hands. Then I'd switch over to aluminum. Aluminum is barely heavier, and it's stiffer. But if you're getting a buzz through your hands, carbon will probably help you out. Same with stem. You don't want a big chunk of metal, but I don't care what brand. I need that proper length and proper stiffness. So those are probably areas. Wheels definitely never cheap out.
Yeah.
Wheels, tires,
I've almost inverted that for like a crit bike back in the day. I did like a pretty cheap bike, and then I upgraded parts where I did like, you know, new wheels, new seat posts, new handlebars, just to make everything a little bit better, right? Kind of the inversion of this.
Yeah. Jackson, you willing to skimp?
I think it's. I mean, I would recommend to always buy, if you are a normal person with a normal human job, to buy. You don't have to buy Red. You don't have to buy Durace. You don't. The difference is so small. I feel like everybody said it, but it's like spending that extra. You said $1,000. That's stupid. That is stupid to spend that extra money for like 100 grams, maybe 100 grams. Maybe. Yeah, and even the electric 105 is like
Bomb.
200 grams.
Yeah,
like
it's
for a shifting performance, it's going to be almost the exact same as Durace, and you're spending like $3,000 more for very little grams. Why would you ever suggest the highest end?
And if you crash in a crit, you're not on the fetal position on the side of the road having a financial and mental meltdown.
Well, exactly though. Like that's the thing. You do have to think about that like I said, as a normal person. Can you really suffice the fact that if this breaks, I have to now replace
I
it?
got to replace it.
Yeah. So I would skimp on that, and I don't even feel like that's skimping anymore with the quality of
the second tier
build.
componentry is the way to go.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
even the third, which is a 105 equivalent,
Yeah.
or
And
there
rival.
Yeah. Would you rather piece together a bike or just trust the OEM and take what they have? I know I've got two build a bike guys here.
Definitely.
Jackson, would you rather just order a bike as is?
I know that where I am right now, I probably would,
Yeah.
because I think that, I don't know, is it more cost effective to piece it together?
No.
No.
It's worse, right?
It's worse.
Yeah. So then I can't piece it together.
drastic.
I like going to some of the websites and where I can click and I can see how much more individual pieces cost and choose and go from there. But I'm
Time does that, by the way.
wow,
Yeah,
it's almost
you
like
get
we're
to
paying
choose
for
what
it.
I was
Crank length, stem
Yeah.
length, bar length. You get to custom
componentry.
Yeah.
I almost
Time.
am making this into. They're not paying us for this.
No.
I
Forget
just
what-
want that to be known.
Time?
What time?
Yeah, shut up!
Is it?
Stop it!
TikTok.
I don't want to make people go, Jesus Christ! They turned into a fucking commercial.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of moments.
Times.
No,
Oh,
I said moments where I have clicked and bought the stock bike. The one I'm on. I've swapped out the saddle. I've swapped out the brake levers because they just fried, probably due to negligence or something like that. And that's it.
I'd be curious on your next bike. Things have changed.
How so?
Because like I used to do the exact same thing. Like the specs on things were more affordable for what you used to get with a rim brake bike, but the new like super bike stuff with electronics, I don't know, it's just not. It's really expensive to get into.
It's stupid.
Oh no! But what I'm
just
saying,
crashing
that
on
if,
stuff
if
is
the
wild.
stock bike is Ultegra, I would
You just
buy
run
the
that.
stock Ultegra bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what mine is.
Yeah.
I'm on Ultegra
Yeah.
right now.
I guess now that we're talking about it, the only things that I have stock on there are the shifters and the
Componentry. Yeah.
it's just the componentry.
Yeah.
Everything else I've fucking
You've
crashed.
swapped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've crashed.
Well, and I think you got to be happy more on manufacturer, which one you prefer. And outside of that, that's not a driving force to me. Like a big componentry is huge, but through time, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that. But like you're going to crash and replace things, or things are going to wear out.
Yeah.
And then you end up purchasing what you need. So it's kind of a one, piece by piece.
What drives you to a specific componentry brand? Why are you guys, Paul? You seem to be in the SRAM house.
And a lot of it is because in the early days of me working at a bike shop, the way Shimano, I think they ran their business, was one of those frustrating things that they designed where when they came out with their STI, 600 wasn't really compatible. You can get them to work, but they weren't compatible with Durace. There's no reason for that.
I love how you date yourself when you say 600 because that's what I've been saying
But
all along.
that's when it came out. It was still 600 Ultegra is what they called it.
Yeah.
And they dropped to 600.
Yeah.
It was 600 EX and then 600 then EX. But anyway, so that that was frustrating. It's like there's no reason why they can't make those work, and it's because they try to get you to buy. So you can't say, well, I got a Durace derailleur and I crashed, which some
So you
people
can't
did.
upgrade.
Yeah,
with
you would have to buy a
Ultegra.
Durace, and then you couldn't buy just one lever back then. You had to buy two. So that was that whole thing. So it was like I was fighting the system. They were like the system,
Yeah.
as being a rebel. And so kind of off of that, I mean, I had great luck with Campy in the early days. So,
That's all I
but
rode when I
it's
was
too
younger.
expensive.
Can you
mean,
tell I had a dad with a good job? I rode Campy for my entire
Well, almost
childhood.
everybody did. My first bike
Now
was
I'm walking around the house
Superbie Pro.
going, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I
You
can't
grab
do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why. And I think SRAM does a good job. I've had a Durace bike and I got rid of it because I didn't like the way the hoods were. I mean, I had
Well,
wrist
that's
pain.
those. Yeah, I was gonna wonder if those were the things that stray you guys one way or the other. Jackson, you've been on Shimano since the beginning.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to be tough for me if the Switch was ever a possibility. I know the buttons. It's now
Sure.
buttons.
Yeah.
I know the buttons. I know how the shifting works and how that all goes. And I think the Switch would take me not long. It's pretty simple, but it would take me a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I like Shimano. I just like how it is. I like how it shifts. I like how it breaks. I like the whole thing, and I do like the levers. I'd be interested to test out the new ones because I know that they did change them a little bit.
Did they?
Mhm.
Okay.
Just a little. I think didn't they make like a bigger reservoir in the front so you can almost get a little bit more arrow on it?
You're talking SRAM?
I
Yes.
thought it was
Shimano.
Yeah,
Shimano
SRAM
did.
Oh,
is
SRAM
a longer,
extended it out. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
did,
yeah.
but Shimano,
Shimano
I know
made it
that they
taller on
they
the-
made it taller on the top,
Oh,
so you can
taller.
grab the tops.
Oh, okay.
So it might be I don't know a little different.
Yeah.
God, like
I
the
don't like
original
that.
SRAM on
Those are
our gravel
massive.
bikes. It's like, it's like
You know what it would
bar ends
do?
up there.
That would cause people to turn those in a little bit.
Yep.
Because, bro. think
Bro.
about it.
Bro,
Yeah.
I'm going to shake your hand, bro.
Call back.
Someday Tyler's going to hear this.
Yeah.
And he's going to be like, bro,
Bro, what
fuck.
the- Yeah,
Why the
bro.
shade?
Bro,
Why the
I'm
shade?
on the shade,
Why the
bro.
shade?
I'm going to eat some cauliflower and kick your ass. I wonder if he regrets the whole vegan cycle.
He said
He
Yeah.
has.
Does
Yeah,
he?
he
that's
has
why he's
mentioned that.
That's a tough
VC.
one.
VC
now.
is,
Yeah.
He says I should have never done that.
Yeah.
So
It's like I was going to go with my original name of ass filler.
Oh, that's a rough one. That's a rough one.
no one listens to my show.
Poop
I can't
joke.
figure it out.
Poop joke. You guys didn't get... Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
That
we
is
did.
awesome.
We
Yeah.
did. But
That is awesome.
That
not
one's
everybody
gonna be
wants
like-
to listen to that.
Yeah.
But I-
every week. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
we-
mine wandered. I will
Yeah.
say.
Speaking of which, we aren't all Sam. So how do we ensure a new bike is a proper fit? Especially when you're ordering, like we are now digitally, you're getting online, you're going click, 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 click. Oh, fuck, I hope this fits. Or I hope it's a comfortable ride or things like that. So, Paul, I know you measure the wheelbase. You're paying strict attention to every single angle and tube lengths and stuff like that.
He doesn't even need to measure that anymore. That shit's
Really?
in his head.
Yeah. So, but I'm even thinking about people who are listening, who are, you who's listening right now, going, I don't know what a proper wheel base length is and things like that. So if I'm about to hover over and click with my mouse on that frame, that's scary shit. You're committing to something, especially if you're in this new modernized way of buying bikes. Canyon, for example, I'm clicking on a frame that it says I should be on a medium, and I've been riding a large my entire life. That's scary shit when that bike comes to you.
So I
For
will,
example, I'm not happy with my Canyon mountain bike. It's too short of reach.
Yeah.
I need a longer stem, but they don't do that anymore.
You want to give it away?
No.
I will say this, that those companies do offer, I think it's something like 2-week or 30-day like returns,
How about
which is insane.
5 months?
No.
No shit.
You missed the window. But also like Specialized does. I'm sure that most do, which I don't know personally. That was never a thing. Like you couldn't return a bike. You walk out the store with it.
Yeah.
It's yours.
Well, we were joking about me knowing wheelbase and angles and
Rake
stuff
and-
like that, and rake and trail and all that.
Yeah.
That came working at a pro shop was my start, And then working on building frames, you learn. I thought I knew a lot, but I had no idea how much more I needed to learn.
Oh, yeah.
When you build frames, it's like, oh my gosh, and everything, every little millimeter can actually change the ride feel or the stiffness here and that. Even with steel, we were discovering that. So I knew what I liked and what worked for me, and I've stuck with it. And that's, I never did answer the question about brand orientation or, just
Loyalty.
loyalty.
Yeah.
To me, it's like if that BMC the first time I had it did not fit the bill for me, it had nothing to do with quality or anything. If it doesn't ride well, I'll get rid of it. And I've done that. I've had bikes in the past where I had a DeRosa that I just was so excited to get. I wanted a great Italian bike, and it was beautiful, and it was everything that I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
But the wheelbase was like 103 millimeters long, and it's like, holy cow, it's like driving a bus in a crit. For me, it's like, whoa, here I go, and stuff. Did I catch a curb on that one?
Yeah.
So that's, if you find a bike, and this is my opinion, if you find a bike and it rides and it fits like a glove and it's time to get a new bike, get those dimensions. There's a site that you can get any bike, whatever year, and they have the breakdown of, all that dimensions, reach, top tube length, wheelbase, all the angles, everything. Try and get it as close as you can.
Mm-hmm.
And you can actually it's really easy to make that transition, but you still need to see like this guy here.
Yeah.
To make sure everything's done right. But why change? If this is a bike you've been racing on and you're successful, you don't have any aches and pains, why just buy a bike because it's got a pretty color and it's got the name brand that everybody wants?
Yeah.
And then the wheelbase is maybe longer or too short and it's too squirrely for you or too long and it feels like driving a bus. Find that. I think just do your research on those bikes. Use those dimensions and say, hey, this is good. So
let me ask you guys about the elephant in the room. Cycling's insane. The price of cycling is insane. I can't remember who said it in most recent article. I think it was oh my God, Mark Madio who talked about the fact that kids can't buy bikes and become bike racers anymore because it's just gotten out of hand. But for those of us, I mean, I want to start with Jackson. You're young. You're just getting underway in your married life. You're getting your master's degree. If you had to go out and get a new bike today, what would you do? How would you pay for it?
Man, I wouldn't.
See, yeah.
You sell plasma.
Well, and
that's it.
And would you be willing? How would you be willing to pay for it? Would you be willing to put it on a credit card? This is for the panel. Or would you be willing to use one of those buy now, pay later loans, things that these bike shops are offering up? Bike manufacturers are offering this. You click on the link, and it takes you and it tells you, this is the cost of the bike. This is how much time we're going to give you. This is the final cost. Are you willing to pay the final cost? There's no extra added interest. There's no anything like that, but it is what it is. Mm-hmm. And is anybody in this room willing to put a bike on a credit card?
No.
I mean, I'll give my first answer because piggybacking off of what we were saying. I mean, I'll be very transparent about it. I'm a paraeducator, so I'm paid very little. Mm-hmm. I know that. But being in a sport where you have to pay a lot, it's super difficult. And I would say that I am the demographic right now that, and I'm not calling anybody in this room old, but I am the demographic right now that pretty much is racing at their, what you would call peak form, right? Mm-hmm. Peak age range.
Yeah.
And the fact that I, at that range that bike companies would probably want to be catering to, can't go out and buy a frame to race on is kind of crazy for me. So like putting it on a credit card, like I was saying earlier, I would never do that because you can't. But the thing is, doesn't matter for bike companies because they got to charge $12,000, $7,000 for a bike that is competitive. And I agree with Mark Madio, the fact that like if kids want to go out and be competitive, if so and so has a dad in insurance,
Hey,
and so is.
I am writing camping.
and
Yeah.
and if the other person has a dad who teaches drama,
well, look where I
spends all
am.
his shit in the basement on a podcast studio.
But so and so has a dad who's a farmer who had a rough year. You know, they're gonna have different bikes, and that's gonna make unfortunately a large difference. And I think that's really frustrating. Sorry, I know you didn't ask for commentary on the bike industry,
No,
but
my money's on the farmer kid, by the way, because
he's
Yeah,
gonna
if he can afford to race,
They're
though.
corn fed.
yeah,
Yeah.
because he's gonna be an absolute unit.
yeah. Tuck it in his sock.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to agree with you, but I also think that the bike industry has never tailored their stuff towards the racers.
No.
They just never have. I
It's
mean,
for the what? For the
Dentists.
who? Yes.
yeah, and for
That was a softball.
I
man.
missed that one. Sorry, dude.
I totally agree, though. I mean, it's just one of those things that, they're going to make way more money if they sell just a few of these, $7,000, $14,000 bikes. It's like those lower cost ones. They're like, those people could just buy used bikes.
Do you
they're not
really
just
think
marketing
that's
to
where
it.
the industry is? That the bulk of the industry is in the high end?
I do.
I heard a fact, and I think it was it GC Race, or it's called, not racing, GC Performance, or it's a guy out of Florida has a bike shop.
GC Performance.
Yeah, thank you. And he was talking about, because the bike industry is in a bad way.
Mm-hmm.
And it might have been also GCN that actually made this comment. I can't remember where I heard it, but they said it was actually the upper end road bikes that actually held the head above water for the cycling industry, because those people with those big deep pockets didn't slow down to purchase that stuff when this is the COVID effect on that whole business. So it was, for the first time, high-end road bikes were actually keeping the industry going. But now that things are settled, that's not the case so much anymore. But yeah, I think those who have it would have it in hard times, and so that's why they can afford that. And I agree, as somebody who's later in life, for me to choose not a disc brake bike, not to be stubborn, which I am.
What?
But I have 5 sets of wheels. I have 2 group sets that are in perfect shape. Do I just throw them away? What do I do with it? Who wants rim brake, 11 speed?
Nobody.
No one wants that.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Make a table
I'll
out of
take
it.
it, but, give it to somebody who's starting, the farm kid in Nebraska or something.
Yeah.
But that's still, why at 61 do I want to spend $10,000? How much longer do I have, in my
that's
life
where
to
you're
sit
Taking
there?
a dirt nap.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
why not? It's not going to increase my joy because I have a disc brake. I love racing my bikes. There is very, very little, maybe a wet, west side crit
Yeah.
where I'd be going, oh fuck, this is no good.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. But I'd throw aluminum rims on there and that'd be okay. But put it on credit cards. The idea of crashing your $10,000 bike and you put it on a credit card, or you pay as you go and you're still making a payment and it's in pieces. Oh, that would kill me.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
no way.
same.
It does not make sense.
Same. Not if you're a racer.
How
Yeah.
much does FOMO play into your bike purchasing life? Fear of missing out. How much does it God, I know my bike's still fine, but
When it comes to my brother,
that's
it's
pretty
high.
cool looking. It is. Oh wow, little family confession time.
If he was here, he would say the same thing.
Really?
I got a new pair of shoes. He gets a new pair of shoes. He got a new helmet. I got a new helmet. He got a new bike. I want a new bike. It's just a sibling thing.
Really?
0 for me.
You really don't.
Don't care.
Anybody else, I would say no.
I know what works for me, I don't care if it's out of fashion or not. I have to wear a belt and suspenders to keep my pants up. That's what I'm going to do, Dan.
All right.
You know,
Right.
so-
Birkenstocks with socks.
Yeah.
Jackson, is FOMO part of your?
Honestly, I will say disc brakes changed my life. So as long as I've got that, I don't really care anymore.
Really?
I mean, electronic shifting I already have it.
But what others have, you don't covet?
no.
Well, he's already got a super bike.
Yeah,
He
I
does
kind
have
of
a
I do a
super
little bit.
I'm not gonna lie. I look at your bike and I am FOMOing at the mouth.
Well, see, that's why I love for you to be
Man,
able
we're
to take
all
care
gonna
of
have
it.
new bikes. besides you.
Yeah, probably.
But see, my interesting thing is when it comes to the bike, it almost is a thing that's like I can't understand, or my brain can't understand the idea of myself purchasing a bike because it just feels so like that pie in the sky feeling.
Sure.
So I almost don't ever have that I'm gonna miss out sort of feeling. And plus, it's like how you perform on the specific machine you have. You know, if you're performing well and that bike is providing that for you, then what am I missing out on? You
So
know?
I need a new bike. That's it.
That's the only solution.
You do.
Yeah.
That's what that all came to.
Yep. GCN posted a video recently, which is kind of, Sam, you brought this to my attention, about building a bike for hill climbs. And we all know the dreaded TT bike dilemma. So it kind of a rapid fire, yes, no, or hell no. I would like to ask you guys if you would ever be willing to create a bike for a specific purpose. So, for example, TT bike, yes, no, hell no. Jackson.
No.
Yes.
Paul.
10 years ago, yes. Now, no.
I'm pretty much a no, too. Indoor bike, Jackson.
No. Actually, hell no.
Sam.
Hell no.
Hell no.
I'm a no. I don't like riding my high-end bikes on the trainer.
That's fair.
Rainy weather bike with the fenders and everything like that, Jackson.
Hell no.
If you had one around, I mean, would you
No.
convert a bike to it?
No.
Hell no. Sam.
Hell no.
Sam, you ride to work.
I'm gonna say I have one, so yes.
Yeah. Paul.
No.
I'm a no. Commuter, Jackson.
No.
Sam.
Yes. Damn it.
Paul.
Yes.
You have one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would do that. A spare bike, either cyclocross or oh shit, I cracked my bike. I wasn't glancing over at Paul.
Yes,
Jackson.
you were.
It's another carbon bike. No.
No. Sam.
Hell no, but I do have some crossover in my bikes, which
Yeah.
was planned there, so maybe yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Paul.
Yeah, mine was out of necessity, but I was fine with one bike. But that's why I got that Cervelo, was because I was going
Yeah.
to be a month out without a bike. So it was
Mine
cheap,
is
and so I did it, and
mine
I had
is-
the parts. So
Mine is yes. I will keep the bike that I am on now.
Open up that door.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, I have plenty of spare for everyone.
Here's hell yes.
Are there any categories of bikes that you would be willing to build, or own, or buy, or anything like that? Anything am I missing? I have 2 tandems in the house,
That would be fun.
and I'm not getting rid of them.
I would
There's
love
no
to,
effing way.
I would love to own a tandem, but I would also consider like a hill climb bike, honestly. Like some really super light bike that's just probably even just a museum piece. Like, well, I got this shit down to, like
Yeah.
a size 61 being 13 pounds would be nuts.
Yeah. Nobody else.
No.
I'm all about the museum pieces. Obviously,
No.
I have
Yeah.
collectors in there,
Yeah.
and I have people when they ask me. Sometimes it'll come out in conversation that, okay, Jackson took 3, so I have 14 bikes in the house, and people look at me and go, why? Well, because I can. Because they're like, do you just go out and buy these bikes? I'm like, no, I've owned them over the years, or they have come into my possession, and there's no way I'm going to sell them. Like that carbon Peugeot in there, that TVT carbon Peugeot. I'm not selling that. I'm not getting rid of it. It's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
I've ridden it twice, but
Yeah.
I like it hanging on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's just my thing. There we go. Has anybody ever taken an old bike and converted it to something else?
Yes.
Yeah, I've tried to convert an old Guccioti into a cyclocross bike once.
Oh, I
work
did
for
that
me.
back in the day.
the
Like,
aluminum one,
Yeah, no, still.
steel.
I did do that early on cyclocross, but I even now more modern have the Serrata that's all pimped out.
Yeah, I did an old mountain bike for a commuter. I just stripped
Oh
it
yeah,
down
that was
and
a
stuff.
Serrata
Yeah.
too, wasn't it?
No, I had the Serrata, but before that I had a Fuji
Oh yeah.
with old Dior DX back then.
I think I'd be more willing to make a commuter bike if we lived in a 365 nice weather type of area.
That's fair.
But living in the
You don't want to get to work all wet,
no,
sloppy, and
Yeah.
gross. Everyone, wear rain gear. fuck you. That's like
Yeah.
an extra 20, 30 minutes of putting shit on.
And an extra $1,500 in rain gear.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
shit's expensive. That stuff's crazy.
Don't get me
I
started.
just
on
turned the
bike
heater
pack.
on my work van and it
Yeah.
dried me off. That's
Yeah.
how I did it.
Yeah. Pluck a couple nose hairs. And you're
Yeah,
good.
that's right. Well, only at the stoplights.
Oh,
Yeah.
stoplights.
Yeah.
Not irresponsible.
What else are you going to do?
Yeah.
Seriously, wait for the damn thing.
Yeah, that's right.
God, we went long, so I'm trying to figure out what to do with the rest of the show. Do I hit the news headlines and then go to our segments? Who's got segments?
You can cut mine. I don't care.
Yeah.
Do you guys have
something.
segments?
I have something, but
Well, I
you can cut
love
it.
your segments. The listeners love your
I can
segments.
come up
always-
with it on the fly. But,
Yeah, I know.
but I have a question for Sam for his segment.
Oh, you
So
do?
when it does,
Okay.
yeah,
So we got
do
two
that.
segments. So we'll do a high-speed version of the news tonight. Thanks to our friends at Wahoo Fitness, technology, indoor training, onboard computers, and so much more. You know the name. Now's the time to prepare for the indoor season with the great offerings from Wahoo. Use the link, pretty please. The tour routes are here. The tour routes are here. See, Sam, I brought this up. That's right. With time to place your bets, the 2025 tours for the men's routes for the men's Tour de France and the women's Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift have been revealed. Mont Ventoux, the Col de la Loze, and a mountain time trial headlining the Tour de France that will test Tadej Pogacar. Not my words, but obviously it's on everybody's mind. From what I'm understanding, it rolls out of northern city of Lille. The entire tour will stay in France this year. On July 5th, remains totally in France, as I said, with only 33 time trial kilometers. A triplet of mountain pain in the Pyrenees and a high altitude endgame throughout the Alps. So it's Pyrenees first, Alps second this time. Wrapping up on July 27th, back in central Paris with the Sprinters World Championships. Let me see. Touch shorter than last year, slightly less elevation gain also, and the sprinters could see 7 stages, including an early stage chance, which I hear Jasper Philipsen is already wetting his chops. And for the women, it is longer in duration, longer in distance, and the toughest edition to date. They are starting July 26th, concluding in the Alpine Resort of Châtel. 1,165K, Battle of the Final Yellow Jersey will see them rack up 17,240 meters of altitude gain. That's a lot. Summit finish on... Let me see. Their second to last stage, which is the biggest one, and then the final stage also will have summit finishes. In additional news that could affect how things turn out in July include ready for this? You guys read this one? Maybe we will see reaction of Mark Cavendish when he asked if he would consider pulling yet another U-turn and racing in 2025. I shit you not. As well as the announcement that past champion Demi Vollering has signed a 2-year deal with FDJ Suez, commenting on her departure, cementing her departure, from SD Works. So with all this to take in, does the route really matter in terms of the men overall perspective? Or are we still in the area of a cycling god?
Jonas and Tade.
Yeah. I think... Honestly, with a little less climbing, it does tip it even more into Tade's favor. They seem pretty. I don't know what a healthy Jonas would look like on more amount of TT time. But yeah, I think with a World Champions jersey, I think Tade's going to be really into it. And I'm really excited to see what Demi Vollering looks like on a new team.
Yeah, it seems like that her decision to move was obviously written in the in the code. With her incredible teammate that she was stuck with, or not stuck with, but this is going to be a make or break for Demi. I think if SD Works was her support crew, great, but I think she's beyond that. I think she's going to crush it this year.
You have to see her video. It's 1:44, and she's on the piano.
Oh yeah, I
Really?
did see it.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Speaking of team signings, Tade has signed a deal with UAE through 2030. So is that sports washing, or is that taking a really good opportunity to keep a guy happy? I mean, is this another instance of these specific regions and areas sports washing sports?
I don't know. You could talk about a bunch of other teams. Mathieu van der Poel is staying on to like 2030 or something like that.
Yeah.
Somebody else, it was a big rider that signed another really big contract. But everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it was Evenepoel signed a really
You're
big
not
contract.
going to lose those riders. Yeah.
Yeah. Like everybody's doing it. So I don't know if you call it sport washing or just like certain riders finding their homes for a long time.
But contracts aren't what they used to be too, because you can have buyouts and that type of thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Do you guys pay attention to the route delivery when they present it every year?
yeah.
Yeah, because do you know
Really?
where I'm going to be on July 16th?
Oh, you will be.
Mont Ventoux.
Well, you won't be in Bozeman.
That's a great stage.
I know.
That's awesome.
I know.
Wow.
And so I want to go ride that and then go ride Alpe d'Huez.
You should take the flag.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I can do that.
I'll pack it with you.
Yeah.
No, not that one. The flag out front.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge full size.
I will do that.
Jump up and down
Yes.
like your ants were full
Banana
of
hammock
bees.
or no banana hammock?
What?
What kind of vibe do you want? Do you want me in a banana hammock?
Borat. The
Yeah,
Borat
Borat.
one.
Borat?
Borat.
I'll do it.
Yeah, over your shoulders.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And he'll come back a single man.
Or you could just take the white shorts. You want to take the white
Kenzie, I
shorts?
can't find you. Where did you go?
I'm in
True.
America.
America. And should Mark just go into management and call it a career and walk peacefully into the?
Good night.
See, this is what Brady did. Brady went and won a Super Bowl. And then he goes, yeah, I'll play another year. And was really shitty that next
got
year.
a divorce.
Well, that did happen too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Well, you wonder if his family's looking at him going, dude. Come on.
Hey.
see, and I worry about Mark going, oh, I could win another one. And then absolutely
Losing
getting shelled on
everything.
the first mountain stage and then no more tour for
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Mark. Yeah.
Yeah.
And on top of this, with everything, I'm sure you guys, I don't know if you read about it or not, but this is for our friends across the pond. The UK has lost its free broadcast of the Tour de France. Warner Brothers Discovery has bid and won broadcast rights for the Tour de France in the UK. Very similar to what we're dealing with here in the States. What does something like that say to the future of cycling, where you're never going to stumble across cycling and become a fan anymore unless you live or know somebody who happens to pay for the subscription service and is watching the Tour de France and is engaged in the Tour de France? Because we here in the States aren't going to have downtown crits that much anymore. We're not going to have bike racing on TV anymore. And now this is spreading across to the United Kingdom and things like that. This does not bode well for the sport we love. Does anybody want to run with that? I don't know if I'm saying anything other than like, yeah, I agree, Pat. It's fucked.
No, I think part of the concern is, well, with free TV that people stumble across watching the Tour de France, like when it was on NBC or ABC or our national thing. I personally don't know too many people who, it's bike racing. They weren't interested. They just didn't switch over. I'm not a proponent for big corporations buying out rights. I hate it. But as a general rule, that argument of saying, a non-cyclist now won't be able to watch the Tour de France by accident.
Yeah.
I mean, basically is what that argument is all about. And I think that most of the people are going to, because Warner Brothers Discovery is a Euro sport production. So some of those people, the majority of those people probably already have that paid subscription anyway. So even if you're watching MotoGP stuff, you're going to stumble across the Tour de France and stuff. That's how I look at it.
I mean, I guess I'm of two minds when it comes to this. My first thought is that it sucks that nobody can really just stumble upon it, or you have to pay a pretty heavy price because those big corporations don't really give a shit about the essence of cycling. They just care about the money. But also, have all of us watched, I'll say Ted Lasso in here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cried every episode.
Where did you stumble on that?
On the channel, on the network, or by word of mouth.
Word of
Word of
mouth.
mouth.
Well,
it was word of mouth.
Did you just flick on the TV on your cable subscription?
No, this is true.
Exactly. You got to pay for some sort of subscription. That's the way that our world's going to work for the rest. Forever now.
You took exactly what I was going to say.
But
Free TV is going to go away.
Just for
Spoiler
an
alert
argument,
now.
though. Just for an argument.
No, he said it at the right time. He didn't say it 5 minutes before I got to it.
Damn it! Just for a sense of argument, because that was on Apple TV, and I already have that for another program, so that's why I ended up watching. I would have never thought, oh, I hear good things about it. I'm gonna get Apple TV. That would have never happened.
This is why Jackson has no inheritance, because I'm the guy who says, "Wow, I hear that's good. I'm going to subscribe."
Yeah, see, I don't.
You
I don't
need to
play
do
that
one of
way.
those apps that like does a collection of all of the things.
My phone
that
would
you-
explode.
Yeah,
My phone would like
$5,000 is going out the door every month.
Dude, you have a severe problem. The fuck?
I don't know. I will say, I watched on Sunday. I watched, as they say, 7 hours of commercial-free football on NFL Red Zone.
Right on, bro.
It's awesome. But
My ass is sore. But
yeah.
yeah.
But,
I wet myself.
yeah. Well, the guy who does it never doesn't drink for the first 3 or doesn't drink water 3 hours prior and doesn't pee the whole time. Anyways, that's a whole other topic.
What?
Yeah, I'll tell you about it. But you want to know where I watched that? On subscription. And
Yeah.
that's live sports.
Yeah.
So we're going to get to that point where it's just
We're at
gonna
that
be-
point.
We're at
every
that point.
channel is going to be
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I don't. And never mind, because I'm going to argue that network TV now is not even worth it.
No.
Yeah,
And it's free, and it's not worth
I
it.
don't know about you guys. I watch maybe 3 shows on network TV anymore.
I didn't even know it was still around.
Yeah.
I probably haven't
Like
watched.
I haven't had that forever.
I probably haven't watched a network series since probably Seinfeld.
I'm not
99.
joking. I don't know if I could access that on my TV. I don't know how to get to it.
Really?
Free
Yeah.
air.
I bet you could. I know how to figure it out.
Like an
you overestimate.
Do you what's your TV provider?
Comcast.
Oh, then you have it.
Well, do you
Never
though?
have I
Because what
seen it.
kind of Comcast do you have? Do you have
I'm
a
gonna
cable
ask
box?
I'm
Like
gonna
all that shit?
I'm gonna ask a scary question. Do you watch the news?
No.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Good for you, man.
Yeah,
that's why you're.
I have to not.
That's why you're happy.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's. Okay. So should we switch? Let's switch to our segments tonight. Brought to us by our friends once again at Untapped Energy, clean fuel thanks to the beauty of pure Vermont maple syrup. I still haven't bought the bourbon maple, and I really want to try it. And I really want to try it in an old fashioned. And I brought that up last week, and I still haven't done it. And I almost got online and ordered it last week, but then I went, no, Pat, this is fueling your alcoholism. Stop it. But it's less liquid. Never mind. There we go. So I guess we're gonna. Are we gonna start with fit tips? Or,
So you have a
Paul,
question
do you?
No, we'll just blend these two together.
Okay, let me.
Because it's an old guy.
I always have segments.
So.
Then I'm gonna do
This is my
this.
profession.
I'm gonna play both your themes at the same time.
That's a possibility. Wow.
See if they're the same length. Who wins?
I win.
Paul wins.
Yeah.
But mine doesn't have any noise there at the end.
Boing. Yours just goes boing.
Yeah, it's true.
Like your
Just
butt
a
when you
bass
bounce
string.
a quarter on it. Like a military mattress, baby.
That's
Just
right.
wham. Holy shit. The quarter hit me in the eye. Fit Tips, I do have to say, is sponsored by Ambassador Cycling. So be sure to check out ambassadorcycling.com because that's where you're going to find Sam and all the love. And Paul's even sporting the logo tonight.
Ah,
Yep.
rocking it hard.
Yep. What do we got tonight, guys? We're going to go a combo.
My question is, because Spokane is based, there's a lot of rural areas around, and you probably don't get a tremendous amount, but way back when I worked at a bike shop, I had to have people from Colville, which is a long haul, people from even Coeur d'Alene because of the type of bike shop, they would travel, and people from Canada, and they would want to order a bike, and knowing what size, could you give somebody a good size of a bike based on measurements, and what measurements would those be that would kind of dial in that? So if somebody wants to buy a Canyon, say, this is what you're looking for.
Like teleordering? Kind of.
Yeah, well, because they would used
telemeasure?
to have to travel. These guys from Canada would come down and have to travel across the border, and we'd do measurements because we were doing custom bikes at that time. But now with technology and stuff like that,
That's a great
Would you be
question.
willing? Would you be willing to do that?
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Yeah,
and
so
what measurements
I
would you require?
do custom bikes through some local shops. I'll like have people come in and I take all their measurements and we communicate with the whatever bike company they're going through. But more commonly than not, to save people a trip in today's modern era, because the internet exists now, we will communicate. I'll look at like, hey, do you have any previous bikes that you've run on, and like what's your seat height, and we can communicate. Like I'll tell them, measure from the center of your bottom bracket up. It's close. Like gosh, people are like within an inch, right? Which an inch is a lot, but they're within an inch, and with that I can at least be pretty close. See, like, hey, okay, you need this size bike. Once it arrives, bring it in and we'll get it all set up for you. But it'll save them a trip, because I do have fits come from southern Idaho, middle of Montana, Canada, or central Washington. So it's one of those things that like that would be a lot to have them come in, size them for the bike. So we do some communication.
But
with
you
that.
primarily use an existing bike. What if this is their?
That's the problem. Is if they
You
don't have
use human like
anything.
inseam or
No, I haven't historically used that. Canyon does, and in all honestly, every single one out there, Specialized does it as well that I'm aware of. Trek does it. If you take those measurements like your inseam, but I just had a guy last week who had his wife measure his inseam, and he ordered that size bike without double checking it. Don't want to place any blame here. And ordered a size way too small.
Well, that's because his wife was measuring it, and he got excited, and his inseam got smaller because he's a boner.
Oh my god! It's so.
I'm the only one who thought that.
no.
Okay.
Yeah, you're the one that was calling this podcast ass filler.
Yeah.
You,
Honey, measure me a little slower.
Oh my gosh. So I have had that issue come up with that. So there is some discrepancy on that. Like it would be hard to not, unless you're measuring it yourself.
Yeah.
Like as far as I'm saying me, a professional that knows what the landmarks are that you're going to be measuring.
This is where, because I did fit.
Sure.
The old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
Look, fit kit. You remember that?
Absolutely.
Pedals and everything. They had these two rods that you
Oh,
said,
I know.
Yeah.
But we measured, for bar width, and that's a big thing, bar width too. But that's changed so much because it's used to be standard. People are like, no, I need a 38 because that's what everybody else is riding. It's like,
Yeah.
It
have
used
fun
to be
climbing
a chromium
on that.
process to
yeah.
a chromium process.
Yep,
That's where
exactly.
Whereas now they're like, I can still hold on to it when it's 30. What's the small size you
I
have?
think 36
Yeah, I
or
know.
something like that.
Yeah.
That's just ridiculous. Have you ever tried to climb?
No.
Put your hands trying
It's wild. It's
Yeah.
honestly, try to climb
rode
with your hands on your top tube. It's the same
42s.
Stand up.
Yeah.
I rode
Stand up.
42s my entire
Yeah.
career.
That was, how are your shoulders?
They're fine.
Yeah.
Okay,
Actually, no.
liar.
What's wider than 42? Did they make
44s?
44.
Oh, I rode I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
I
rode
was gonna
44s.
say,
I
there's
rode the
no-
widest bars.
Yeah.
Calvin Jones was my coach.
You
He was
could
like,
you could get some 46s, but they were for tandems in the
Yeah.
back,
yeah.
so that somebody has an ass size of
Yeah.
Sam,
So you ride a tandem
so
Sam.
so your stoker doesn't have to have his fist right into his
where
butt cheeks.
he'd fart and it'd burn your hands.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thanks.
Hey, Jesus.
3rd-degree burns.
There
all
go
over
those
the back of
gloves.
your hand.
Yeah,
So
what
that's
a waste.
part of I guess the reason why I bring this up is we had to have we just had physical people, and we did use old bikes for measurement, but they're usually so out of whack back there. The access to a good fit was just some guy selling you a bike. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, have
Stand
fun.
over it, lift it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have 2 centimeters of clearance?
Yeah.
Or what? How many? Between your
Standover
your
height,
taint, and the top tube. That's how it was done.
My God, I
So-
remember those days.
Yeah, and
And
Wasn't
that's
that long
assuming
ago?
that's assuming a level top tube too. Now, I
Mhm.
mean, we've got sloping
Yeah.
top tubes now too. So
yeah, it's all thrown out the window, and that's why those are the things, the standards that when I did it compared to what it is now, and definitely you have to see the bike now after they buy it. Let's say
100%.
and that was just okay. You bought it. I can adjust your cleats. That's all it came down to. Your seat 4.5.
Yeah.
That type of thing. But maybe change out a stem.
And if their stem's pointing up, you coat it in gasoline and light a match.
Just burn it. Walk away.
Yeah. It's better for the bike this way.
Yeah.
I always thought I had a bike stolen, a beautiful steel Pogliaggi stolen out of my car once, and I always thought that if I ever saw
Nice
it
bike.
somewhere with the handlebars upside down, I would just smash it with a sledgehammer without even trying to claim it back.
You deserve better.
The bike would just be looking at me going, "Kill me."
See, but you got it all wrong.
Kill
The
me.
frame is the soul. The rest is like
Yeah,
be
but
replaced.
but
and-
you know what? If I were to walk
What
around
if
all
you
day with
just,
a
like-
really shitty haircut, I would feel pretty bad about myself.
What if you just
Yeah, but
walked up and took the bike
I would do that.
and made it whole again?
I dreamt that the other night because my mom gave a bike away to a close friend of ours. And where was I? We were coming through Fish Lake Trail, and I'm like going, if I see that bike, I'm stopping and I'm taking the bike back because it's very distinctive. It's a white bike and has white tires. I had some old white tires that I put on it for my mom. I'm like, going, these are really fun. So if I ever saw that bike again, I would just be like, hey, meth head, fuck off. I'm taking your bike. You can't move fast enough to catch me. Well, they probably could. but-
Probably could.
Probably
good.
I'm
crawling
all
all
jacked
fours
up.
at you.
Zombie style. Yeah,
Yeah.
come after you. We gotta go to the cool down with Jackson Bolger. Because this is always a fun way to end the show with a proper cool down, even though our glasses are empty. So don't say Roger or two to blue.
Yes.
What is
You
wrong
just
with
did.
you?
You just did.
I over-exaggerated that slurp.
So now that Halloween is this week, pretty much cold weather time is here. We've all known it. I know. And so I think that winter kit is what we all are pretty much going to wear now, whether it be the thermal jerseys, the jackets, which I rarely wear my jacket, I find.
The big, thick jersey.
thermal
Yeah.
jacket. Yeah. All that stuff is coming out now. But I have noticed that I have a specific uniform when it comes to my cold weather gear. I find that I have a thermal jersey, and it depends on how cold it is. I'll just wear a base layer. I enjoy my tights a lot, I've noticed, all the way up to, I will say, like March. Once March comes, then it's leg warmers. And then I run all year long just Velo Toes, the rubber shoe covers, which I can't believe.
Well,
Can't do
you
that.
put some toe warmers in there. And
I don't even put toe warmers. I just wear
I don't know how he
wool
does it.
socks.
I don't know how he does it.
My
Wool's
nice
just-
wool
yeah.
socks.
Oh, that's wild.
But my feet don't get cold, which I'm surprised by.
The wind, I mean, yeah, as long as your body's moving.
Yeah, that's the thing. As long as you move, because I found last year I went on a 10-mile run or ride while my wife was running, and that was the first time I got really cold on the bike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was like shivering at the end. And then it depends on how cold it is for the gloves, how thick they are. But that's mine. What do you want to stick with specifically? Because I find that when we go out, like, we stick with the same things. We always do.
What are you laughing
I
at?
want to stick with anything above 55 degrees.
You are
I'm a
a weather
diva.
Yeah.
you are a weather diva.
I will
But if
not-
it's 40 degree, if it's, I would say 40 to 45 degrees, it's still fine to go.
Absolutely.
Especially in February when you're
Easy.
like, I'd rather eat cement than stay
above
inside today.
freezing.
Yeah.
You guys are way.
I've done
tougher
below
than me.
freezing. I've done below
I
freezing.
have too, many times.
See, I've like
Dumb.
raced in snow.
I specifically
Same.
remember once going out for a ride with 5 layers on my upper body.
Yeah. And-
5 layers.
But see, like, I don't know, like, for you guys, is it not the fact that, like, I've done that and I did so many seasons of where I was training through the winter of
Why-
shitty weather
okay.
that I don't want to do anymore?
Listen, bitch. I've been riding since 1983 when it was wool. Don't
When
give
I
me
was
this.
an
Don't
itch
give
in
me
my
this.
daddy's pants.
Don't give me this. You've paid your price.
No, it's more of just I've grown weak.
eat shit and die. Paul and I have
You
paid
don't
the
have
price.
sensation in most of your limbs anymore.
Don't know. That's Paul.
That's one
He
limb.
has red arms.
It's
That's
one
one limb.
limb.
And that one's useless. It's just like a little.
Yeah.
It's just the
Flippy floppy
pinky anyways.
thing. Yeah.
It works
Just the
once.
pinky.
Yeah.
But no, I have probably 3 or 4 different shoe cover options, including the Velo toes just over the toes that I wore this weekend.
See, I want a
Crazy.
neoprene.
I have the full Velo toes. I have a thin layer shoe cover. I have a thicker layer shoe cover, and I have a neoprene shoe cover. I have regular tights. I have thermal tights. I have the full-on leg warmers that you pull up which are very odd to wear because, strangely enough, those are great for cold weather, but they don't protect
The middle.
the unit. They don't protect anything in the middle.
See, and that's what I think thermal tights are good for, is it's warm everywhere.
And by the way, the best Tyler vegan cyclist video of the all time is when he did the winter race and he froze his junk. He got frostbite on the tip of his
That's a
junk.
good video.
It's a hilarious video.
okay.
The guy is funny but that was I give him shit, but I love him. But no, I don't fuck around. I have like 4 different pairs of gloves, and I always overdress. You guys see me. I come out to, it's 75 degrees, and I'm wearing long sleeves.
You end
Yeah.
up with a swoob.
I do. I get swoobs. I get sweaty boobs. And
Yeah.
swack, sweaty back. And swack, sweaty crack. I get it all.
Swack.
Yeah.
Sweaty back going into sweaty crack.
I get it all, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, I took that one over. You guys-
What do you guys
Yeah.
over here wear?
I am like, I'll start with just a windbreaker. I'm kind of like you with the Velotos and stuff. I'll wear a windbreaker, but then it's, you got thermalish vest and a pretty warm long sleeve. And I'm a big fan of layers in the sense of I don't think I'd ever get on the tights train just
you
because
won't go out into that weather.
Yeah, I wouldn't go out into that weather. And like for me, it's like, well, these work, and I want the opportunity of, if I need to, I could take off my leg warmers. When it warms up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used to have wool tights. Vittoria Gianni.
Yeah.
One of those.
Absolutely.
And then I had Pearly Zumi back when I thought they were quality. Back in the 80s, they had it's called Durawool, and it was a blend with Lycra and also wool. And those things wore like iron. I had them for years and years. They finally gave up the ghost, but those were great for, like, I wouldn't wear tights if it was above freezing. I use leg warmers. Asos makes a great leg warmer that works fine.
And World Championship stripes clip-on suspenders. Please say you had a pair.
They weren't world champion. Mine were just
up.
mine were just yellow.
Clip-on.
Yeah,
So this
because
is
there was no
pre-bibs.
belt.
yeah,
yeah.
there were no bibs. Yeah.
No, you typically had half shorts. Now
Yeah.
bibs were pretty rare.
Wow, that is cool.
Mhm.
Do you
I
still
s-
have a pair?
Yeah, my suspenders, I do. Yeah, if you pull them tight enough, they'll just probably go or they'll burst into a blue flame and tell you nightmarish stories.
Yeah.
That's
But
a good
on
one.
that-
That's an interesting one, Jackson.
Thanks.
So and then when it comes to gloves, because I have bad hands, I have a series of gloves that I wear on top of each other. So
Oh, you
I
do.
have
2
yeah.
pairs of
Yes,
gloves.
right.
I have
Time.
Defeat makes a wool blend
Mhm.
like glove that has like little grippers on it, and that's what I have for a base. Then I have some Panache has a kind of like an over glove that I can put over the top of that. And if those two are too light, then I have some really thick, I think, gore. I have some gore that are just like bear claws,
Yeah.
and that's what I have to do. As in, so shorts are just basically shorts. On the upper, I have a long sleeve base layer, long sleeve, our winter. And then if it's too cold, then I have an Asos that's a little thicker one piece that has like a wraparound neck.
Gee, I wonder why we spend so much on cycling.
I know.
I know.
We're all
we got a lot of it.
this
Golly, just don't
gigantic
ride
list
in
of
that
clothing.
weather.
Yeah.
Well, that
You buy
wasn't always
yourself
the option.
a $1,200 trainer and then pay
Yeah.
$15 a month for sitting in
Cartoons.
sweating.
Yeah.
Cartoons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Jackson.
Mhm.
Let's shall we end with our wonderful way to go out? Our wonderful way to go out is the final K. So before I get to it, brings us to the end of the Packfiller Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe, as it truly helps us boost our power. Drop us a review on your favorite podcasting platform. By the way, I think we should still do the January 1st ride. That always used to be a thing. January 1st through, you would get out and ride your bikes. Although it would be interesting to make it a day for the beer mile. Just saying. Just saying. Just saying. Let's play the outro. Gentlemen, the final K question tonight is, what is your favorite Halloween candy and what is the worst Halloween candy?
That's a tough one. That's a really tough one because I like all of them.
You do.
But
so favorite and worst.
Favorite, first thing that comes to mind is I like the little Starburst packages with 3 in them. And then my
That's
least...
a lot of work. You got to unwrap all that shit.
Yeah, but it's fun. You got to work for it. And then my least favorite are not Almond Joys, but Mounds. What's the point?
Yeah.
This fucking Mounds has coconut. You hate Mounds.
I don't like the Mounds.
I thought you were going
I'm
to say
fine with
you
the
like
Almond
Sorry.
Joys.
Twix nowadays comes with left and a right. And if you just keep finding lefts, it's like, well, you got to find the right. So you just keep eating them until you find the right.
I
So
agree.
then you might get like 6, 7 deep. It's
So
a good
worst.
time. The worst is candy corn.
Fucking love candy corn. You're an asshole. Paul.
Best Reese's peanut butter cups, especially when they came out with the dark.
Yeah.
Really good. Worse, and I remember as a kid getting an apple.
Ah!
Used to get fruit, banana
Yeah.
cut in half,
I've gotten coins.
coins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least
I
you
only
can
got
buy
5 seconds
candy.
left. Best is those flavored Tootsie Rolls, and the worst is something with a razor blade in it.
Oh,
There you
Yeah,
go.
I almost said that with the apple.
Because that's what people used to always say. It's like, let me check your candy.
Yeah.
Dad would check it. I'm going to check your candy. I'm like, you're just eating all the Snickers, you assholes.
My teeth are floating.
So you got to pee.
I gotta pee.
I guess that's it. Catch you guys next